Alrighty. So yeah, today we're going to be looking at some games from the US Championship that just finished up last week. Is anyone following the FIDE Grand Swiss, by the way? The current ongoing super tournament? That one is very interesting. Maybe we'll do a class next time on games from from that tournament, because there's so many good players there. But for today, okay, I pulled some moments for you guys to take a look at some interesting ideas that popped up in a number of the games. We'll see how you do. You can test yourselves against some of the players from the U.S. Championship, and yeah, maybe try to like keep track of your score. See how many you get right. Okay, let me get the first one here on the board. All right, so this one is black to move, and just looking for the best move in these puzzles. Actually, let me close chat so you can just send your answers directly to me. Definitely don't spoil it for others. Black to play. How should black proceed in this position? I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes here. Let's say 3 minutes for this one. Okay guys, last few seconds. Send me your answers if you haven't submitted yet. Okay, good job. Let me call on Rio here.
Rio,
sorry.
Okay. So, first of all, I don't want to play rook takes c2 because of knight d7. Or actually, maybe rook c8 first.
Maybe rook c8 pinning, and then knight d7 is very unpleasant.
Though, but okay. Yeah, for example, knight d7, I need to play rook d2 already, knight f8, king f8, rook c8, rook c7, rook b7, it's not going to be fun. So, I'm going to play f6, chasing with a knight. Okay, if you don't go to d3, then I'll just take the pawn next move. So,
knight f3,
yeah,
rook takes e2, yeah? And then you said...
Yes. Or rook a2, rook a2. Okay, knight d3.
Yeah, maybe rook a2 also, right, going after this one. So knight d3.
Yeah, and now I was thinking rook e2, but then I didn't want because knight f4.
Right, knight f4.
Rook e4, I guess. Okay, rook a2, knight e6. Okay, f3. No. Okay, can't f3 bullet. Or, I mean, I don't even touch it. I can probably just play rook c8 or rook c7.
Yeah, we can pause here for a sec. What do you guys think about this position? Because black is up a pawn, but it's, yeah, very awkward to defend this one with the rook. Yeah, king f3 is an annoying move. So that forces black to maybe play f5. And then it definitely feels like white's pieces are doing something. Yeah, so white has some very, very nice compensation if this were to happen. I mean, yeah, rook is just kind of stuck on e4. Okay. So what would be better?
I would play e5. So I'm still threatening the pawn, but you have no more knight f4. And that's also just blocks the bishop anyways. Okay, he can play like rook c7 or rook c8. Rook c7, I just play b5, I believe. Also, the bishop is kind of getting trapped if you leave it alone on a1.
Right, so rook c7.
For example, b5, and yeah, probably b5. Or even rook a2.
Maybe just...
Bishop c3, rook a3, yeah.
Well, you have to be careful. Yeah, bishop takes... Oh, you said rook a3, sorry. I thought you said rook this one. So here we have that, but yeah, we just take and... Yeah, so this e5 move is very strong. In fact, I think we can just stop here. We don't even have to necessarily calculate too much further, but it kills the bishop on a1, really restricts the knight on d3, and yeah, basically black just wants to win the pawn under much better circumstances. Good job, Ryo, and good job everyone who sent in e5. And yeah, basically just like a small little maneuver, or let's say advance that black makes. Just take some squares in the center. You often see this from white's point of view as well, when white goes f3, e4 to restrict the bishop on b7, and this is just very much the same thing. Doesn't it kill our own bishop too? In a way it does, but the bishop is still actually going to be just very useful on this diagonal. So as long as our bishop has some kind of target, I think black is okay. Whereas for white, it's very hard for the bishop to feel like it's doing anything against this pawn chain, because it's really hard to get in f4. And yeah, so now e2 is hanging for real, so king f1, rook a2, and this pawn just can't be defended. So bishop c3, black took this one, and bishop d2, bishop d6. Yeah, here Jeffrey just kind of I think was in pretty serious time trouble and just kind of messed something up here, because he goes b5, which definitely really unnecessary to give up this the second pawn. Because after a takes b5, his idea was rook b1, but simply it's just like not in time. But what do you guys think black should do from here? How to proceed at this moment? Okay, we have b4, but then probably white takes, bishop takes b4. And we lose one of our extra pawns, and then b7 might be hanging as well. Rook a2 and e4. Yeah, either of these moves are good, and black is just getting serious counterplay. Both are quite strong. So Sevian starts with e4, knight f4, rook a2, bishop e1. And now he could already go rook b2 here, but he decides to go b4, which is kind of interesting. Now, what do you guys think his idea is on bishop takes b4? Good, Eric. Yeah, bishop takes f4. So he takes this one, or that would be the idea, I'm presuming. And then after g takes f4, key move rook to b2. Forcing a trade of rooks and then leaving black with this single piece endgame, which looks very, very nice, right? Outside pass pawn. Structure is pretty solid. King has an easy route to get into the game. Looks like it's going to be... should just be losing for white. It's just too many advantages for black. Bishop has no real targets. So kind of a nice simplification there. So white doesn't take, but now he's just down 2 pawns, and game did not last very long. Knight d5, rook b2, rook d1, b5, b3, knight c3 takes. I think he resigned here because the b pawn is going to be too strong. Okay, so very nice little just positional improvement here, f6 and e5, just restricting both pieces and then looking to win the pawn kind of under the best possible circumstances. Although white definitely didn't necessarily have to lose this game. I want to go back to this moment. Instead of b5, guys, what would be a better way for white to try to defend this position? What do you think? This one's kind of tough because we're down a pawn. But the position definitely isn't lost yet, and if we can find a way to salvage a draw at least some of the time, that's a lot of points that we're scoring. Okay, yeah, a simple choice would be something like knight to c5. Just trying to trade off, and more importantly, trying to get this pawn to c5 so that white can play c6 and break apart black's pawns. Like if we're going to be left down a pawn, we kind of want it to be a weak pawn, and ideally we get some rook endgame down a pawn, which might be holdable. So, for example, black maybe takes this way, drops back, then either c6 here, or I think their idea is like this: bishop b4, rook a4, and now c6. So take, and maybe white can hold this, right, on a good day. Definitely some drawing chances here once the rook gets behind the pawn on the 7th rank. Okay, so yeah, I think white can also try rook c8 check first, and then knight c5 like this as well. Something like this definitely gives white well, a lot better chances compared to the game, but defending is hard. What are you gonna do? Okay, well done. Let's go on to the next one. All right, again, we're going to be looking at this from black's point of view. So this is a game between Begum and Crush. And okay, I'm going to give you guys another 3 minutes here. Black to move. What should black do? Okay, very good. So, yeah, actually lots of interesting ideas here. Of course, this pawn is hanging with check, but the pawn is also not going anywhere, right? If we take this one right away, it gives white the chance to immediately activate the king with king d4, and then the king is a lot closer to our queenside pawns, and yeah, that position looks very unclear. So starting with e5, definitely the way to go. Now there was one interesting try with b4 I saw in the chat, because it comes with kind of a nice trap. If king d4, a4, king c4, black can play b3, right? Takes a3. And how is white stopping the pawn? It seems like they have to play king c3, but then bishop d6 hits the knight and also hits bishop e5 check, followed by e2. So in fact, white is not stopping the pawn. Black just wins. So that's kind of a nice trick. So instead of a4, king c4, probably white needs to like get the knight back in with knight e2, and then the knight can defend against this this possible break. Still a good try, though now the pawns are in danger of being a little overextended. Okay, so yeah, in the game, black actually played a4, which is understandable, just pushing the outside pass pawn, but it gives white a chance to get the king in and now get the knight in as well. Now black has to play b4, king d3, and okay, we'll take a look, but let's see what black should have done. So e5 was the right way to go, stopping the king from using this d4 square. Then let's say king d3, bishop takes h6, knight e2. Now would be another kind of critical moment. So let's pause here for a second and ask, how should black proceed? Okay, very good. Yeah, black really wants to restrict this knight, so b4, even though it looks kind of counterintuitive, but it's more important to actually cut all the squares this knight can jump to. The bishop is restricting this diagonal, and then very important to see that the bishop can actually defend the a5 pawn from behind. So this is kind of a nice little construction where the bishop can keep the pawns protected. In the meantime, black's king slowly tries to make progress on the king side, and yeah, black is well on their way to converting up a pawn, and white doesn't really have a way to make progress. Yeah, king to d5, bishop c3, and let's say here the bishop can. Let's think about it for a sec. Oh wait, excuse me. I think we just promote the pawn. Yeah. So then b3, a3, and it's going to be very hard to stop for white. If you take knight d4, there's always bishop c3. Yeah, but king c4, then there's no threat. Black can just bring the king in. Yeah, and then the king, well, it kind of depends. If the knight stays on e2, there's not going to be much we can do on the king side. But you can also head towards the queen side. Yeah. Well, let's see. So if we play this one, let's say king f7, knight g3. I think we're already looking at a breakthrough, right? So this is kind of a key idea black has to watch out for on every move. Yeah, but this is very important to the position, that these breakthroughs are always in the air. Yeah, no, not an easy thing to let's say figure out. I mean, it kind of feels like black is breaking all the rules with b4, just like giving up but it's much more important to stop knight c3 when the knight starts jumping around and can come after our pawns. Let's go to the game. So in the game, a4 was played, knight e2, b4, king d3. Black took this one, king c4, bishop f8. Now white's knight is not fully restricted here, so white comes in. And okay, black to play. How to proceed. Let me give you guys another 2 minutes on this one. Okay. Send me your ideas if you have them for this one. Yeah, so here it seems like white is very active, but black has a chance to break through. Exactly. Very good. Very good. Yeah, Austin, Sanjana, Ryo, Sepper. B3. Exactly the kind of move black should be looking for every step of the way. Because these outside pass pawns are just very annoying to deal with, especially for the knight. So a3. Now bishop is coming to g7. And that's a big problem. Okay, key line, let's see. If b4, we're pushing. Knight b3, bishop g7, b5, promotes. And the bishop is in time, yeah? Let's say f4. How to finish it off from here. Bishop f6, king c5, could get a little tricky, yeah? So if e5, then let's say b6. E takes f4. King d5. And oops. Not so easy, huh? Okay, maybe g5. All right, g5 looks promising. If b6, we take. And then bishop comes back to e5. So g5, g3. And then h5, there's going to be b6. White's pawn is going to run. Yeah, I think g5 taking, I think you guys have it. Bishop f6. Now if the pawn comes, we're holding it. Yeah, we have to keep this pawn. Yeah. I think it should be winning. Yeah. I don't see a way for White to trade this one off. And then if king c5, then I think we just run with this one. Yeah, like here we're coming, actually here. So here we're coming here again. Yeah, looks like game over. Okay, so a little bit tricky still, but should be winning. We can definitely believe in the power of the bishop. So after a3, let's say knight c2, a2, only chance for White is to just try to block the bishop. Yeah, f4, bishop g7, e5. And now how to continue here as Black. Yeah, should be just gut instinct, g5. White will go g3. And what about now? h5, yeah. Now Black can get the other pawn running. Our threat is either h4 or takes, h4, takes, bishop h6. And it's going to take White so much effort to get to this one that, yeah, then the h-pawn wins the game. Let's say b4, takes, bishop h6. And yeah, taking this one, and this one's running. Or king d4 ends. Yeah. Game over. Okay. So in this game, Black played bishop g7, and I think they drew. After knight c2, everything got liquidated, unfortunately, for Black. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this one is a question for Black. Should we go queen takes b2? Let me give you guys 3 minutes on this one. send that to everyone. Okay, let me know if you haven't already. Should black take on b2 or not, and if so, why? Or why not? So yeah, this was the game between Crush and Zatonsky. And, well, I think black's position is actually not that bad here. Maybe slightly worse because of the isolated queen pawn. A little bit passive. White has good control over the blockade square on d4 and a pretty solid position. Definitely black didn't need to take on b2, but it is a pawn. And if we can get away with taking this one, then, well, it's a good pawn to take. And sometimes we should be willing to take the pawn if we don't see anything that the opponent can do that's so dangerous. But here it does turn out to be pretty dangerous, as some of you pointed out. The problem is there's no immediate rook fb1 because queen a3, the queen is escaping, and b7 is defended. But it relies on this queen a3 move. So after queen takes b2, instead of rook fb1, what other move can white start with here? Knight to b5. Yeah, knight b5 is an interesting choice as well. But yeah, black might have knight b4. So we have to think about what white can do. It's kind of easier to do this when we see it from white's point of view, but it's also important to do it as the defender. I think a3 is going to be a little bit too slow because the queen can just drop back, right? So we have to be pretty forcing here still. Yeah. Again, it all revolves around this queen a3. That's the only way black is defending. So bishop takes f6. Now if bishop takes, then the queen is getting trapped. Rook fb1. And okay, black has to play like some knight b4, but is losing a piece. So bishop takes f6, black is forced to go gf6. And this is pretty serious, these double pawns. I mean, yeah, now white just has fantastic play against the king side. So let's flip the board, because Irina played this one pretty well. Rook fb1, queen a3, rook b3, of course, keeping the queens on the board. And now white just needs to maneuver the pieces over to somewhere like f5, bring the queen, bring the bishop, and yeah, it's going to be just impossible to defend black's king side. So queen a4, queen b1, knight takes d4, knight takes d4, rook c7. White wins the pawn back, not that it matters too much in this position. Takes, bishop d3, bishop c5. Now black can't even defend this pawn or doesn't have time because of h6. White just starts maneuvering the queen over towards the king side. Queen d1, queen h5, and too many weaknesses. So bishop c5, a good practical try, just trying to trade off. Bishop takes h7, king g7. Okay, white to play. How to proceed? Let me give you guys 3 minutes here. Okay, 15 seconds. Get your answers in if you haven't already. Yeah, good job, good job. Okay, let me call on Aryan.
So here, the thing is, the f7 pawn is the only thing defending the e6 bishop. And if the knight lands on e6, it's forking the king, queen, bishop, and rook. Mm-hmm. So it's forking all of those pieces, mainly the king and queen. So if we find a way to distract the pawn, then we can win the queen and become rich. So we play queen to g6.
Queen g6, very good.
F takes g6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if king h8, then queen h6, and we're mating him.
Yeah. So takes.
So he has to take and now take.
Mm-hmm.
King takes bishop, knight takes queen, and basically what happened is we've simplified. And now this is just a winning endgame. Because either he has to let go of his pawn, or he loses even more material, like knight e6 threats.
Right, because this one is hanging and this one is hanging, right? So rook d8, knight e6 here, and
rook c8, c1.
Yeah. Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, a few of you guys pointed this out. Very nice. So this would have been maybe the cleanest way to win, because white gets 2 extra pawns. Maybe black's best is to go d4, but knight e6 anyway is, a big problem. The other way was also good, but not quite as, let's say, game-ending. Queen g6, king h8, and actually, white has to be pretty precise here, to make this work. Rook c1, only move, looks like. Maybe queen c2 is possible as well, but rook c1, I mean, white is still doing really well. Let's say take, and we'll still pawn up, and the rook is very active. Black has a lot of weaknesses, so white is, not as nice as queen g6, of course, but very good winning chances, let's say, at least. Yeah, in the game, bishop f5 was played, so this one is just kind of missed. It's one of those things, it's like if you don't pause and look for it, very easy to just overlook this kind of tactic. But anyway, white was still having a big advantage, and this position is just very difficult to defend when the king is weak. As long as white keeps heavy pieces on the board, the king on g7 is always going to be in huge danger. So even if the bishops get traded, as they do here, it's like black can even undouble the pawns, but the king is still going to be very exposed on the 7th rank. So black doesn't even do that. Takes with the rook, and slowly white is able to bring everything over to the king side. And I think black resigned here because mate is coming in short order. Okay, very good. Let's go to our next one. Okay, this is one of Carissa's games. This is white to play. We put 3 minutes on the clock. Let me know what white should do. All right, we got Aryan again.
So what black might try to do here is like try to use that e6 to a2 diagonal, long diagonal, to create some threats against our king. And he also might bring the knight to d5 because it's a pretty good square there. So in this position, what we should do is play d5 ourselves. So we cannot take with the pawn because of just knight to c3, and then and just knight c3. And if bishop takes d5, again knight c3, and this time if queen to c2, we play bishop to c2 instead of taking. Here we'll play bishop c2, and now queen t4, and the queen gets trapped after b3.
Wait, let's take a look. So d5, you're saying bishop takes d5?
Yeah.
Then knight c3?
Yes.
And then?
So then if like queen to b3, bishop c2, and the queen ends up getting trapped after b3.
Gotcha. Very nice. Okay, so queen goes back. Let's say queen a6.
Queen a6, then we can do a lot of things here. Like one thing maybe we can do is take on b5 with the bishop, or we can take on b5 with the knight. Like anyways, we're better.
Okay, but yeah, which one would you choose? This can go for everyone. You can let me know. How should white continue here?
Knight takes d5.
You go knight takes d5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the way to go. This is what happened in the game, taking the light squared bishop. Black structure is all collapsed now. White takes on f5, and now the light squared bishop is an absolute monster, and light squares are super weak.
Or maybe even queen b4 would work.
Queen b4, yeah, possibly. Yeah. Okay, going back to c takes d5. You want a knight c3 here, but maybe a little bit better is knight d4. Just more active, and then you hit this one, you hit f5. Knight c3, I think the issue might be queen a5, although it's still probably quite nice for white, but we actually want the knight on d4 here. Now bishop takes b5 is kind of a more serious threat. Okay, very good, Aryan. So yeah, in the game d5 was played, very nice breakthrough. Takes, knight c3, takes here, and yeah, white was completely winning. Bishop d4, bishop e5, trades on e5, and yeah, essentially black's position, just still too many weaknesses. d5 is weak, h4 is weak, there's g6 in the air, c-pawn is possibly strong for white, and bishop is just very strong on this in this position. Alrighty, let's do one more. We'll jump to this game. This game between John Burke and Jeffrey Zhang. And let's go to the key moment here, after black played c5. Okay, white to play. Let me give you guys a couple minutes here to think about it. Hopefully in a game you would spend more than 3 minutes, but we're running out of time, so we'll keep it short. Okay, 20 seconds. What to do? Okay, I think quite a few of you found the right reaction here. Now, essentially, white has kind of a choice. You can either go d5 to keep the position closed, or e5. While seeing the game, maybe, but that's all right. I think it's a nice game to review. Now the issue with d5 is that black is not going to keep the bishop closed for very long. It's just going to immediately push c4, and yeah, and then the dark square bishop is just a very, very powerful piece. So indeed, the right move is e5. Hitting the knight and also just preparing a very simple queen d3 idea, which is going to be weakening black's king side. So Jeffrey goes knight d5. I'm not sure this was best. Queen d3, g6, and bishop b3. Just lining up everything for white's pieces. It's also good to play like queen d2, hit this one, king g7, and then knight a3, and just getting the knight into this trajectory to try to get knight d6. And black's position is just very, very weak, although it's still pretty sharp. But yeah, black has problems. White's rooks are connected and everything is aiming at the king side. But I liked how John played it as well. He goes bishop b3, knight f4, queen e4, knight e6, queen h4, and now c4. And okay, we're running out of time here, so I'll just finish up. He goes knight c3. Very, very cool move, planning to get the knight into e4, and then queen takes h6, knight f6. White is just mating all over the place. This one is actually not best because black could have defended with knight g5 still. But okay, still black's position is basically on the verge. It was better for white to go knight d2 for this reason, so that on knight g5 white could just go queen takes h6, and then if knight f3, just recapturing with this knight, and yeah, black is just getting mated. But in any case, knight c3 was played. Black, I think, makes losing move with d takes e5, and now queen takes h6, and yeah, very hard to stop white's pieces from getting in. And if black had taken this one, then let's say queen takes h6, I think would be good. Maybe black goes d5, and white can just take. And yeah, everything is coming in. Knight f6, rook e4, rook h4, and big problems. So de5, queen takes h6, bishop c6. And now white to play. Let's find one more move to win the game. Yeah, resign. Very good. No, d5. Nice job. Takes, knight takes, the knight comes in. C takes b3, knight e4. Queen d8, d takes c6, and black resign here because one of white's knights is getting to g5. Rook is coming to e4 and h4, and yeah, kingside is just getting absolutely wrecked. So yeah, very nice attacking game by Berg to end the tournament. Alrighty guys, I think we're going to end it there. Good work today. Let me open up the chat. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Some great games. Try to follow the FIDE Grand Swiss. There's some amazing games being played there like every single day. Worth looking at. So yeah. Alrighty, I'll see you guys next time.